The icy wind cut through the arena like a blade. Every footstep of the human cadet crunched sharply against the frozen ground. Around him, the crowd of alien spectators roared, their voices a mix of excitement, curiosity, and cruelty. He could feel their eyes on him, their disbelief almost tangible. A human, standing alone in the center of the arena, facing creatures that dwarfed even the largest alien gladiators. No one had ever lasted more than a minute against the war beasts. The cadet's name was Joran, and he took a slow, steady breath. His heart pounded, not with fear but with determination. He had trained for this moment his entire life. Years of running, climbing, and fighting in human simulation chambers had led to this frozen arena. But simulations could never match the reality of living monsters. His fingers tightened around the strap of his utility belt, the small tools inside a faint comfort. Not weapons, just tools. In the alien arenas, weapons were useless against the war beasts. The first beast appeared. A wall of muscle and dark fur, taller than 3 men stacked, its eyes glowing like molten gold. Its claws scraped the ice, sending shards flying into the air. It sniffed the wind, its gaze locking on Joran as if it could see into his soul. A low growl rolled from its chest, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The crowd cheered violently. They expected a swift death. Pathetic human, one alien hissed, a lean, 6-limbed being with green scales. He won't last a heartbeat. Joran ignored the insult. His voice came out calm, almost whispering, yet carrying an edge that made the alien guards flinch. "I'll see about that," he muttered to himself. The beast lunged without warning. Its speed was blinding and its jaws snapped close enough to feel the wind on his face. Joran rolled sideways, his body sliding across the ice. Pain shot through his shoulder as a sharp fragment of frozen ground scraped him, but he pushed himself up immediately. He knew panic would kill him faster than the beast ever could. The crowd gasped. Some leaned forward, astonished. Humans were small, weak, fragile. None had faced the war beasts before. But this human was different. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He watched. He studied. The war beast circled, massive paws crunching the ice, steam rising from its nostrils. It growled again, a deep, vibrating sound that rattled Joran's chest. He could feel the beast's power, raw and dangerous, a force that had ended countless lives. And yet he felt something else. Intelligence. Awareness. The creature was not just a mindless killer, it was calculating, waiting for a mistake. Joran's mind raced. He remembered the training instructor's words, "Watch their eyes. Every move tells a story. Every shift of weight is a plan." He crouched slightly, keeping low, his eyes never leaving the glowing orbs of the beast. He mimicked the creature's rhythm, moving in time with its steps, small adjustments, subtle shifts. The crowd noticed, their cheers mixed with murmurs of shock. "Impossible," another alien shouted. "No human can." The beast charged again. This time Joran did not dodge blindly. He sidestepped at the exact moment, letting the creature's momentum carry it past him. Its claws scratched the ice where he had just stood, sparks flying from the friction. Joran felt the exhilaration in his chest, the adrenaline making every sense sharper. He could hear the ice cracking under the beast's weight, smell the sharp, metallic scent of blood from its mouth, see the tiny shards of ice suspended in the cold air. Then he spoke, soft but firm, almost as if talking to the beast alone. "Look at me. I'm not your enemy." The arena went still for a heartbeat. Not one alien spoke. The beast paused mid-step, tilting its massive head as though considering his words. Joran's pulse thundered in his ears, not from fear, but from the sheer impossibility of what he dared to try. Suddenly a second war beast entered. Bigger, darker, and scarred from countless battles. The crowd erupted. Joran froze, calculating in seconds. 2 beasts, unpredictable, untrained in any alliance, and he stood alone. Panic flared in some corners of his mind, but he forced it down. Fear could kill faster than teeth. The first beast growled again, a low warning rumble. Joran held his ground. Slowly, carefully, he extended his hand, not in attack but in acknowledgement. "We can do this," he whispered. The first beast hesitated, sniffing the air, its muscles tensing. Then, in an almost impossible display, it stepped back slightly, giving him space. The crowd went wild with confusion. Alien spectators shouted, some in disbelief, others in fear. He speaks to them. He commands them. Joran's eyes scan the arena. The second beast snarled, circling at the edge of the ice, muscles coiled like springs. His mind raced through options, strategies, every move he could make if the creature attacked first. But deep down he trusted instinct, both his and the creature's. The wind whipped harder, stinging his face, carrying the scent of snow, fur, and raw power. The moment stretched. Eyes locked between human and monster. Time slowed, and for the first time in the arena's history, the monsters hesitated. The humans watching in the crowd gasped. The aliens murmured nervously. No one knew what would happen next. Joran's lips curved slightly into a grin, though his eyes never left the first beast. This was only the beginning. The challenge had begun, but he was ready. The arena, frozen and silent for a fleeting second, seemed to hold its breath. And then the first beast bowed, not in submission, not in fear, but in acknowledgement. The entire arena froze. The arena trembled as the second war beast stepped fully into the light. Its massive form cast a shadow across the frozen expanse, and Joran's breath came in sharp, visible puffs. The crowd's roar rose to a deafening pitch, yet beneath the sound he could feel the pulse of the ice beneath him, the heartbeat of the arena itself. The new beast's eyes glowed red, sharper and more menacing than the first, and its teeth glinted like jagged ivory. Joran took a steadying breath. 2 against 1, fine. I'll learn your rhythm, he muttered under his breath, almost to himself. His words were calm, but inside, adrenaline surged like wildfire. The first beast, which had bowed to him earlier, let out a low growl, almost warning the newcomer, yet it stayed by Joran's side. A strange tension held the moment, a silent truce forming that no one could have predicted. The red-eyed beast lunged first, faster than anything Joran had anticipated. Its massive paws hammered the ice, sending shards flying in every direction. Joran dropped low, sliding across the slick surface, narrowly avoiding a swipe that could have crushed him. Sparks flew as the claws scraped against frozen stone, a sound like fire on ice. "You've trained well, human," one alien spectator hissed, claws tapping on the metallic rail of the arena. "But no human survives this." Joran ignored the taunt. Instead he focused on movement, letting his instincts guide him. He circled with the first beast, their steps in sync, small adjustments to avoid the new threat. He realized something remarkable. The first creature was watching his every move, predicting the second beast's attacks, acting almost as an extension of his own body. Joran's lips twitched into a small grin. "I'm not alone." The red-eyed beast crouched, then exploded forward, aiming for Joran's midsection. He twisted just in time, feeling the wind of its claws brush against his arm. Pain flared but didn't stop him. He grabbed a small ice shard and threw it, not as a weapon but to distract. The shard spun through the air and caught the beast's eye. Its momentum faltered for a fraction of a second, enough for Joran to leap aside. The arena echoed with alien gasps. "Impossible," one alien shouted, clenching his fists. "It hesitates for him." Joran glanced at the first beast, now circling the second. Its growl deepened, a resonant, threatening sound. Joran whispered, "Help me, if you can." For the first time he realized he wasn't just surviving, he was commanding, in a way that no human had ever done. The second beast roared in anger and charged again. Its speed was blinding, and this time Joran had no room to dodge. Instinct took over. He dropped to the ice and rolled under the creature's massive jaw, sliding forward until his back hit the first beast's side. A sharp roar escaped both creatures as they momentarily collided, claws scraping, teeth snapping. Sparks erupted as steel and ice met. Joran's pulse thundered, his chest heaving. "You can't outsmart me," the red-eyed beast growled, its voice surprisingly intelligent, almost human-like in its fury. "I don't need to," Joran said, voice steady despite the burn in his muscles. "I just need to survive, and understand you." The beasts hesitated for the briefest moment, their eyes locked on him. It was enough. Joran leapt to his feet and sprinted toward a narrow stretch of ice between the two beasts. The first creature moved with him, blocking and creating openings, while the second tried to anticipate his path. The arena was a blur of movement, claws, and flying ice, yet Joran's mind remained sharp. Every step, every slide, every glance had purpose. Suddenly the ice beneath the second beast cracked. A hidden crevice, one of the arena's traps, yawned open. The alien spectators cheered, thinking it would finally claim the human. But Joran didn't panic. He shouted to the first beast, "Push him!" The massive creature responded instantly, slamming its shoulder into the second beast with incredible force. The red-eyed monster stumbled but did not fall. Sparks of friction flew as the beasts collided. Joran seized the moment, jumping onto the first beast's back for balance, and ran along its thick fur, using it as a moving shield against snapping jaws and slashing claws. The crowd fell into stunned silence. A human riding a war beast, maneuvering against another more powerful one? It was unprecedented. Some aliens muttered curses, others exchanged worried glances. The second beast lunged again, teeth bared, fury in its every move. Joran's heart pounded. He ducked low, rolling beneath the creature's swing, and felt the scrape of its claws against his shoulder. Pain flared, but adrenaline sharpened his senses. He could see the pattern now, the way the beast's weight shifted before every attack, the timing of its strikes. Again? Joran whispered to the first beast. It growled in acknowledgement, charging forward. The two monsters clashed, shaking the arena with a thunderous roar. Joran's voice cut through the chaos, calm and commanding, "Now, move with me." The first beast pivoted smoothly, blocking and pushing, forcing the second beast to stumble backward. Ice cracked beneath their massive feet, sparks and shards flying like miniature comets. Joran felt his chest swell with exhilaration. Fear had been replaced with understanding, chaos with rhythm. He wasn't just surviving, he was controlling the battlefield, turning instinct into strategy. Then the unthinkable happened. The second beast paused mid-charge, ears twitching, nostrils flaring. It growled softly, confusion in its gaze. The first beast stepped closer to Joran, nudging him slightly as if to ask, "Are you ready for this?" Joran whispered back, "I am." For a heartbeat, the arena froze again, the tension absolute. Even the aliens seemed to hold their breath. The first clash had ended, not with a victor but with a human showing that survival could be more than strength or speed. It could be courage, intelligence, and connection. And in that moment, every spectator knew something extraordinary had begun. The arena had grown tense, the air thick with frost and anticipation. Joran's chest heaved from exertion, sweat freezing on his skin despite the icy wind. His eyes flicked between the two war beasts. The first had stayed close, a silent protector, while the second circled warily, still uncertain after their clash. The crowd's roar had dimmed into murmurs of disbelief and awe. And then, the massive doors at the far end of the arena slammed open. A shadow fell across the ice. The spectators screamed. Joran instinctively ducked, shielding his eyes. A new creature stepped through, a beast taller than any before, its fur black as night, streaked with scarred silver. Its eyes burned with a deep, crimson fire, and its claws left gouges in the frozen ground with every step. Even the seasoned alien handlers froze, trembling in fear. They called it the warlord, a living weapon bred from generations of apex predators. None had survived a direct encounter. Joran's stomach tightened. His mind raced, calculating every possible move, every escape. Two beasts were already alive, massive, unpredictable, and now this? He swallowed hard, forcing his fear down. "Stay close, stay with me," he murmured to the first beast, which nudged his leg as if it understood. The warlord roared, a sound that reverberated through the arena, shaking loose shards of ice from the walls. Its gaze locked on Joran immediately, and the human felt the weight of its intelligence. It wasn't acting on instinct alone, it was studying him, weighing his strength, his will, his very essence. "You'll die here, human," one alien shouted, pointing. "Even your beast cannot save you from this." Joran clenched his fists, teeth gritting. "We'll see," he replied softly, more to himself than anyone else. The warlord lunged. Its sheer speed was terrifying, faster than either of the previous beasts, faster than Joran had ever imagined possible. Ice splintered beneath its weight as it barreled toward him. He ducked low, sliding along the ground, narrowly avoiding a crushing paw. Sparks flew as claws tore through frozen earth. The first beast growled, stepping forward between Joran and the warlord. It bared its teeth, a warning roar that echoed across the arena. For a heartbeat, the warlord froze as if reconsidering. Joran saw the hesitation and seized the moment. He leapt to the side, using the first beast as cover. "Now, move with me," he shouted. The crowd went silent. They had never seen a human coordinate with a war beast like this. Every eye was fixed on the scene, every mind straining to predict the impossible. The warlord circled, snarling, muscles tensing like coiled springs. It struck suddenly, its claws raking the ice where Joran had been moments before. He rolled, feeling shards of frozen ground cut his sleeve. Pain stung, but he ignored it. His focus was total, every movement precise, every decision immediate. Then something extraordinary happened. The first beast lunged, colliding with the warlord mid-strike. Ice shattered beneath their weight, sparks scattering like fire in the wind. The warlord staggered but did not fall. The two creatures circled each other, snarling, muscles tense, yet Joran noticed something new. The first beast's eyes were fixed on him, not on the enemy. It waited for his command, ready to act, not react. "Come on, you can do this," Joran whispered, sliding forward, keeping low. He extended a hand, not in threat, but in gesture. The warlord paused, head tilting slightly, nostrils flaring. The arena seemed to hold its breath. "You think you can tame it?" An alien muttered, voice shaking. "It is impossible." Joran didn't respond. He focused on the warlord, taking slow, deliberate steps forward. "I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to survive and understand you," he said quietly. His words were simple, but his tone carried something deeper, a mixture of respect, courage, and calm determination. For a moment, the warlord simply stared, crimson eyes boring into his own. Then, unexpectedly, it lowered its massive head slightly, sniffing the air. It did not attack. The crowd gasped, disbelief ringing through the arena. The alien spectators exchanged worried murmurs, eyes wide with fear. This had never happened. A human had never influenced a creature bred for annihilation. Joran took another step, feeling the ice crack beneath his boots. "That's it, just trust me," he whispered. The first beast let out a low rumble, circling closer. The warlord growled, a sound of confusion and curiosity rather than aggression. Its massive body shifted, muscles coiling, yet it hesitated. Then the impossible happened. With a slow, deliberate motion, the warlord stepped closer to Joran, bowing its enormous head just slightly. Not submission. Not fear. Recognition. The arena erupted in shocked gasps and whispers. Even the first beast froze in astonishment, its massive eyes locking on the newcomer, then flicking to Joran. He felt a surge of exhilaration, a shiver running down his spine. This was more than survival. This was connection. The alien spectators fell silent, many unable to comprehend what they were seeing. It obeys him," one whispered. "A human, commanding the warlord?" Joran allowed himself a small, tense smile. "We're not enemies," he murmured to the new ally, moving cautiously closer. "We're here to survive. Together." The warlord's eyes remained locked on him, nostrils flaring. It shifted, circling once more, then stopped, lowering itself beside the first beast. The crowd's excitement turned to confusion, then awe. What no one expected was unfolding before their eyes. A human had not only survived the first clash, but had begun to command a creature designed for war. A living weapon. A nightmare made flesh. Joran's heart pounded in triumph, but he knew this was only the beginning. The arena was vast, traps hidden in ice and snow, more challenges waiting. The unexpected ally had arrived, but danger was far from over. And as he looked out across the frozen expanse, eyes meeting the crimson stare of the warlord, he realized that the impossible had just become possible. The arena had gone quiet after the warlord bowed. Joran's heart still raced from the impossible alliance he had formed. The first beast stood close, muscles tense, and the warlord mirrored every small movement. For a fleeting moment, it felt like the battle might be over. But then the floor shuddered beneath them, sending a tremor through the ice. Before Joran could react, hidden panels in the arena floor sprang open. Jets of icy steam hissed upward, forcing him to leap back. The red-eyed spectators cheered, thinking the traps would end the human's life. Sharp spikes shot from beneath the ice, cracking and splitting the ground. Joran's mind raced. This isn't natural. They plan this. It's not the beasts I need to survive, it's the arena itself. The warlord growled, muscles coiling as if sensing the danger before him. The first beast roared and lunged toward a panel that had begun to shift, shoving it slightly aside with its massive shoulder. Joran's pulse thundered. "Good. Stay sharp," he yelled, dodging a second jet of steam that scorched the frozen ground. Sparks of ice sprayed into his face, stinging his cheeks. The arena's automated defenses were relentless. Walls shifted, revealing hidden blades, and the floor tilted, sending shards of ice tumbling. Joran's instincts kicked in, and he guided the beast through the shifting battlefield. "Left. Now," he shouted, sliding under a swinging blade. The warlord pivoted with uncanny precision, its massive paws smashing a trap plate and sending it spinning harmlessly aside. "You think you can survive this?" An alien announcer's voice boomed through the arena. No human has ever lasted against the arena's wrath. Joran ignored the taunt, focusing on every step, every shift of weight. His eyes darted across the ice, reading the arena like a puzzle. Every trap, every mechanism told a story. The betrayal was clear. The beasts were never meant to be his only challenge. The arena itself had been designed to kill, and now it moved with deadly precision against him. A hidden blade swung low, grazing the first beast's flank. It let out a painful roar, staggering. Joran cursed under his breath and kicked a chunk of ice into the mechanism, jamming it just enough to save the creature. The warlord growled, sensing his determination, and moved to flank the remaining dangers. Joran climbed onto its back, holding tight as the massive beast dodged another trap that shot out spikes from the walls. The arena tilted again, ice panels sliding to form jagged ridges. Joran felt a sharp sting in his arm, a small cut from a spinning shard, but he ignored it. His attention was on the creatures and the path forward. "We have to keep moving. Don't stop," he shouted. The first beast nudged him, reminding him of the rhythm they had developed, the silent communication that had saved them so far. Then, something unexpected happened. A section of the arena wall collapsed, revealing a pit lined with glowing energy spikes. Joran's stomach dropped. It was a trap, no doubt designed to make them fall. The warlord growled and leapt backward instinctively, its claws scraping the ice as it landed. The first beast circled, eyes narrowed, preparing to follow. Joran's mind raced. "We can't fight this like we did before. This isn't about strength, it's about timing. Precision." He grabbed a shard of ice and hurled it at a panel, triggering a partial collapse that created a narrow bridge of solid ground across the pit. "Quick, move," he yelled. Both beasts followed, muscles straining as they leapt across the gap. Sparks and shards flew, the energy spikes sparking beneath them, but they landed safely on the other side. The alien spectators were shouting, some in disbelief, others in glee. "Impossible," one muttered. "The human uses the beasts against the traps." Joran slid down onto the ice, chest heaving. The betrayal of the arena was clear, but so was something else. He could survive. He could think faster than the mechanisms could move, react faster than any trap could strike. He turned to the warlord and the first beast, who both watched him with intense focus. "We've made it this far. We can go further," he said, voice firm, filled with determination. But the arena was not done. From above, massive hammers swung, their momentum threatening to crush them. The ice beneath Joran cracked, tiny fissures running through the surface. He grabbed a chunk of frozen debris and used it to brace himself as the hammer smashed down. Sparks and shards sprayed everywhere. Pain flared along his arm from the earlier cut, but he ignored it, focusing only on survival and on guiding the beasts. The warlord moved like a shadow beside him, anticipating every swing, every strike. The first beast lunged, using its massive body to block a blade that shot from a wall. The arena's betrayal was relentless, but the humans' coordination with the creatures was proving unstoppable. Joran's voice rang out over the chaos. "Stay with me. We're not done yet." The beasts answered with growls and snarls, moving in perfect unison. For the first time, the crowd realized that this human had turned the tables. The arena itself was now being fought as a team with living allies, rather than against mindless creatures. A hidden blade shot toward Joran, slicing across the warlord's massive shoulder. It roared in pain, stumbling, but Joran caught it with a grab, steadying the beast. "Hold on. Just a little further." His voice carried both command and reassurance. The arena trembled, its traps relentless, but the alliance between human and beasts had become stronger than the mechanisms of death around them. For a brief moment, Joran allowed himself a flicker of pride. The betrayal of the arena had been designed to crush him, to make him fail. But he had turned it into a test, a challenge to prove the unthinkable, that a human could survive, adapt, and overcome not just monsters, but the deadly intent of an entire battlefield. The crowd was silent for a heartbeat, stunned at what they had witnessed. Alien spectators exchanged nervous glances, realizing the human had not only survived the arena's traps, but had learned to use them to his advantage. And as Joran glanced across the frozen battlefield, chest heaving, ice shards sticking to his sweat-soaked hair, he knew the ultimate test had yet to come. The betrayal of the arena had been survived, but the final challenge, the one that would truly prove his mastery, was still ahead. The arena trembled with anticipation. The traps had been survived, the beasts had been tamed, but nothing could prepare the spectators for what came next. A low rumble shook the ice beneath Joran's feet. From the shadows of the arena, the largest war beast ever bred stepped forward. Its massive horns scraped the ceiling, and its eyes burned like molten embers. Its roar echoed through the Colosseum, a sound that made even seasoned alien spectators shrink back in terror. This was the final challenge, a creature no human had ever faced and lived to tell the tale. Joran's pulse raced, but he did not falter. The first beast stood beside him, muscles tense, and the warlord growled low in the frozen air. He placed a hand on the warlord's fur, feeling the raw energy thrumming beneath its skin. "We face this together. Watch me, trust me," he whispered. The beast responded with a growl that felt like agreement, a bond forged through ice, fire, and survival. The giant beast lunged, faster than its size suggested, and the ice beneath it shattered with the force of the impact. Joran rolled, narrowly avoiding a swipe that could have shattered his ribs. Sparks flew from claws scraping frozen stone, and shards of ice exploded into the air. The crowd screamed, some in fear, some in excitement, but all were frozen by the impossible scene unfolding before them. "You are brave, but foolish human," one alien announcer shouted. "No one can survive this beast." Joran's teeth clenched, eyes sharp. "Foolish? Maybe. Brave? Definitely," he muttered, almost to himself, yet loud enough for the beasts to hear. He darted forward, guiding the warlord and the first beast in a tight circle, using their combined strength to dodge the creature's massive claws. Sparks and ice flew with each near miss, but he never hesitated, never panicked. The massive war beast roared again, and this time it aimed directly for Joran. He dove sideways, rolling under its swinging horn, feeling the cold bite of frozen shards against his skin. Pain flared, but adrenaline sharpened every sense. He could hear the crunch of ice beneath the massive feet, smell the sharp metallic tang of blood from a minor scrape on the first beast, see every muscle twitch as the enormous creature recalculated its next strike. Then Joran did something no one expected. He stopped running. He stood tall, arms wide, chest heaving, staring into the beast's glowing eyes. "Look at me," he shouted. His voice carried over the arena, clear, commanding, unafraid. For a heartbeat, the monster froze mid-step, nostrils flaring, head tilting slightly as if considering the human. The crowd fell silent, alien jaws dropping in disbelief. You can't control it," an alien screamed, terror in its voice. "It will crush you." But Joran did not move. He felt the heartbeat of the warlord beneath his hand, the steady breath of the first beast at his side. The war beast roared again, but this time it did not attack. Its crimson eyes locked onto Joran's, measuring, questioning, sensing something no human had ever dared show: confidence, courage, and respect. "Do you understand me?" Joran whispered, voice low, carrying an authority deeper than fear. The warlord growled softly, moving closer to his side. The first beast nudged his leg, muscles coiled, ready to defend, yet calm. Joran extended a hand toward the giant war beast, not as a threat, but as a gesture of connection. For a long moment nothing moved. Then, almost imperceptibly, the massive beast's head dipped. Not in defeat. Not in submission. A bow, slow and deliberate, a gesture that acknowledged the human strength, courage, and mastery over creatures thought untamable. The arena froze. Every spectator, alien and human alike, held their breath. Silence swallowed the roar of the wind, the cracking ice, the distant screams of excitement. Even the other beasts paused, stunned by what they saw. Joran's chest heaved, muscles trembling from exertion, sweat and frost coating his skin. His voice was barely audible, yet firm: "We are done. Not as enemies but as survivors, together." The first beast let out a low rumble, the warlord growled softly, and the giant war beast remained bowed, a living testament to the human's impossible achievement. The alien announcer stammered, words lost to shock. This has never happened. No human." He stopped, unable to continue. Even the spectators who had mocked, jeered, or hoped for failure were now wide-eyed, some whispering reverently. Joran's gaze swept across the arena. The frozen battlefield was a mess of shattered ice, broken traps, and splintered stone. Sparks and shards reflected the rising sun, casting dramatic light across the victorious trio. His chest swelled, not with pride alone, but with something deeper: validation, the knowledge that humans could face monsters, outthink them, and survive not just by strength, but by courage and intelligence. A small, incredulous voice called from the stands. He tamed them all?" A young alien cadet pointed, trembling. "All of them, alive, listening?" Joran smiled faintly, though exhaustion weighed on him. "Not tamed," he whispered to the beasts beside him, voice full of respect. "They're partners. We survived together." The warlord's head nudged his shoulder, warm and powerful despite its size, and the first beast circled once, letting out a victorious roar that echoed through the frozen arena. The crowd erupted, a mix of shock, awe, and reluctant admiration. Alien spectators leaped to their feet, clapping, shouting, unable to deny the truth: the human had achieved the impossible. He had not only survived the arena, but he had changed it forever. Joran stood tall, frost clinging to his hair, muscles aching, heart pounding. Around him, the beasts remained calm, alert, yet clearly acknowledging his leadership. The arena, a place designed for death and fear, had been transformed into a testament to human courage and ingenuity. And as the first rays of sunlight broke across the icy battlefield, glinting off fur, claws, and shattered stone, Joran knew the legend had begun. The arena had frozen, not in fear of the human's death, but in awe of his triumph. The impossible had been made possible. A human had commanded beasts no one dared challenge, survived traps designed to kill, and stood victorious, not by brute strength but by heart, courage, and unshakable determination. The bow of the war beast was no mere gesture. It was a promise, a story, a new era. Humans were not weak. Humans could endure, could think, could rise. And Joran, standing amidst living nightmares that had bowed before him, had shown them all exactly why.